Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 38 of Illium, our modded CS1 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Just loading into Illium, I've just been enjoying the amount of residential we have across the hillside now, with the completion of Downtown a few episodes ago. And we also finally got to enjoy the Figure of 8 monorail first-person tour which went up on the channel. But don't forget to check that out as part of the Illium playlist as well. Either way, today we're moving across the other side of the Eastern Highway to develop a new town centre and indeed a new road network frame, as residential, metro and trains will begin to sprawl this side of the highway, eventually taking us to an international airport, which will have a little chat about what's going to go down with the metro and the trains today as well. But happy Monday to you all, and welcome back to Illium, everyone. So over here, I think we're going to start by throwing up our first town centre. Now the trajectory of the metro is a little off here. So to discuss what's going to happen is we'll break this line, and then I want to bring the metro off at an angle, possibly 45 degrees, maybe a little less than that actually, it's a little severe. Just slightly off centre here, and then I'm also going to raise this up a touch as well. And for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to look nice, slightly raised up from the arterial road here once it's all smoothed out. But I also want to whip the rail around elevated and into a tunnel that will go into this hill here, merging out the other side, where it's eventually going to run, I think, all the way around here, which is a lot of nodes, I'll admit. I could tunnel through here, you know, rather than using the coast. The coastal road does look awesome though, doesn't it? I think I am going to condense this down into a single network. But besides that point, the metro is also going to run parallel with this. Probably splitting here to run down toward a international airport complex, which is planned for this peninsula, which will create possibly the best first-person tour we'll ever make, which will run the regional airport to the international complex via a metro line, which is this one, flowing alongside the cursor today. So that'll be epic when that's done. Really look forward to that one day. Don't forget, we also did the monorail one as well, a couple of weeks ago on the channel with Downtown completing, so enjoy the first person tours. They're very much just so enjoyable. Absolutely love watching those things come together. So with that planned, we can now know we want our metro to connect here, but I also want to start connecting these two arterial roads as well. They are connected a little further down by the highway interchanges, but they're not going to connect again, and doing it through here is obviously a lot of land in the way. So I'd like to connect them here as well. So I might use 4-lane for this actually. And we'll come here, and what I'm going to do is grab that node down to the same level as the one it comes out from. And then I'm going to use the create curve mode here. I'll also have that 4-lane road running out of this one as well. Same deal. Down to the same height. And then into I create curve mode. I'll grab this one and this one. I'm just going to tunnel it through the landscape for us. But that's fine by me. I don't mind a little bit of tunnel action. Something nice to detail in the road network frame as well, the tunnel entrances. And then we know that this metro, which again will allow us to see now just how much room we have to play with. I'll go for 6 meters as a minimum. So I can grab the building and say jump to the same height as the node. Yeah, perfect. And then this I can just have run over here. I'll have it something on the sweep, create a bit of a real detailed feature out of this metro line here. All the layers across this area are going to be really cool to see one day. And then I'm going to do a 12 or a 10 unit tunnel there, I think, as it burrows into the earth. There we go, and then just adjust that underground node so it starts to flow as such. And of course, these roads are going to have to downgrade now as well. We'll keep our cycling on it, of course. We just don't want any trees around the metro. Sweet. We've got quite a big gated community build planned for this little area here, which will be a separate episode. And then with this metro line, we'll just slowly pull this out. That's basically perfect. It's a 17 by 21 curve there. And then I'll also do slope down to a 4.8. Do you want to even push that down to perhaps that node there? That'll give us a 2.9. I think the Metro police will be slightly happier with that, won't they? Let's move that layer. Yeah, it's quite a nice little ascent that up into the network, isn't it? Which gives a really nice definitive boundary to the road design here. With the metro station itself, I think we'll pedestrianise the front of it, drawing to and from the road guidelines on the side of the asset. We will need to bring it up to the same height as the building, of course. You can justify, yeah, if we lower too much, we start to expose essentially the concrete foundation, which looks a little strange. So we'll save that. And then we'll draw this here. And I'll come out here with a little 5 curve, and we should be able to bag that one there as well. 13 by 13, just so happens to be perfect. I promise that wasn't pre-planned. I always enjoy a happy accident like that, don't we? And then we'll slope that up. And then we can just blend that in. We can bring a key in if we need. It's a little bit of a waste of nodes just for there, but I think maybe some elaborate flower design to perhaps complement that shape, right? We'll worry about a pedestrian area once we get our buildings in. And I doubt there'll be anyone coming over here now. Yeah, doesn't look like it, but they will do. Right, wonderful. So that's giving us a little bit of connectivity. We do already have people parking here. Although I can't imagine. Yeah, some people transitioning this interchange now. Which still wants a lot of detailing through here. We'll definitely spend some time with our networks. Because I think your roads deserve as much detail, and to just touch on that point again here. Like if we have basic kind of rough and ready interchange and road design here compared to something that's possibly overly landscaped, the couplet passing through the city, when it does have a lot of stuff around it, I think it really contributes to the overall cityscape, doesn't it, I think? So we will certainly spend quite a bit of time, I think, almost curating the highway detailing through this valley. Because this is, again, the main arterial through downtown that we spoke about in our last episode as well. So the tram is also stopping here as well, which we need to address. Now this is going to also make an absolutely nuts first-person tour one day. Because it's coming from here. This tram line comes through Central Park, down the hill, back into downtown, running along here, stopping at these stations at the central hub, carrying on back out the other side of the downtown, all the way along the waterfront, into here, down into the low density area, as it continues to stop by the monorail, and then finally terminating in a loop up here by the park. Which is insane. That would be one of the longest... I mean, how long is it now? It has to already just be insane, right? Have a little look here. 20 kilometers. serious tram line. So I suppose at some point we should consider terminating it. Because it's probably getting too long. I mean, I'm not sure how long do trams usually run for. Would you look at that? Actually between 8 and 20 kilometers, which is pretty insane. That's kind of cool. Okay, so if it's 19.6 now, I think we will actually terminate it there as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to bring... Actually, just delete this right here. I do want to do this from the exit of the bridge. Possibly, I think. Hold that there. We'll worry about torn nodes in a second. I'm going to do the same thing again over here, snapping to road guidelines of the metro. I suppose this segment's actually going to be one-way tram road, isn't it? And then we'll have a little 2 curve, and then a freeform back in there, which will give us a nice little teardrop shape. Let's bring this up by 6. Let's bring this down here. And then we'll do just another simple curve mode here, which will give us the tram line. And we now know we can downgrade this as the tram will leave the arterial and fully terminate over here, which will look something like that. Oh, if I can get it to snap. There we go. And of course, let's not forget that these Sunset Harbour stations, which is the DLC they're from, by the way, if you're wondering, are walkable from the back side as well. So we want to make sure we account for that. So all really important things to do, especially as you moved into undeveloped 25 tile regions. To keep establishing this infrastructure that the big city around here in 4 or 5 episodes time, once it's all developed, has the infrastructure to support it as the rest of the city does. I mentioned a few times this series, especially towards the 81 tile space, is that it's easy to speed up when you reach this point of the game. Are we happy with this gradient? I think we'll certainly stretch this top node off. Let's push that one out. And then the green off a little bit, probably blue as well, actually. Just let this node breathe a touch. There's probably justification for IMT along these larger, more important nodes. Right, we'll see if anyone uses this. Probably not, because we've just connected it in and it'll want a little time for people to establish on these pathways. You guys hear Coco? Well, Finch is currently dreaming behind me, if you can hear that. I'm not sure if she is. That's sweet. Okay, there we go. So this is the convergence we want to see, right? Metro people going to tram and vice versa. So let's check the new line now. It's up to 20.4 kilometers, which is perfect, really. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. Okay, so from here to here is nearly a kilometer in City Skylines terms. We went from 19.6 to 20.4 there, didn't we? That's interesting. A bit of CS science, but that's wonderful. I'm happy with that convergence there now. And we will do a first-person tour of that in the next couple of episodes once these areas are developed, so it's not empty here. But with that in, we can now add in some local roads, I think. So let's move into a bit of a road time-lapse. So we have some areas to place our buildings down here today. Then to address, I guess, what's going to form as a town centre here outside of the metro station, I'd like to adjust, I think, some of the roads around this initial frame here. So almost lining up with this one here, the road guideline of the track. Put it to that node, that would go to there. And here into here, essentially, is what I want. Move that on there. This is becoming quite the significant node, I feel now. No, probably pedestrianize this as well. And this way it's going to sort of frame this angle of the metro where we can align a lot of our assets today. And then a similar situation here, really, just to bring it down to there. That's going to roughly run. That's very close to lining up with that node there, isn't it? I could do that, so that is 90 degrees there. We'll do that one there instead then. Then I kill that. And then that's almost going to reframe our pedestrianization through here. So we can run that down that way as well. I'm very keen to use a lot of the new park assets here, particularly from Renewed History. Some of these larger ones have not had the opportunity to use yet. That very nearly sits and fits running lengthways, doesn't it? So why don't we go for that one? We'll have this a bit closer towards the pedestrianisation here. It'll actually join really nicely there. That will allow our bollard detailing to flow down here. I'm not massively bothered about symmetry or geometry or sort of major centralised designs. I think if anything, now as we move out of downtown, I always want to move away from that in terms of coming towards, I guess, more organic growth, not as insanely planned and developed as downtown is. I think we'll go for more moderation out here. And we've yet to use the clock tower unique, haven't we? One of my favourites. I don't think we've used this, of course, because we've got unlimited unique buildings on with the mods. I can't really remember what we haven't already used here. I think certainly up and out front here, we're set to the same height as the node of these roads. And we should be able to blend this into the park here, I think. Although, then again, given this has sides, I think I don't want to fight how awkward that's going to make it. I'll expand the tile detailing off of this asset, I think. All of the nodes around it I want perfectly level. Otherwise that'll be a nightmare to detail that asset. So we'll have the clock tower in here. And then let's get some of our residential going as well. I've created a district name here which we'll name. And we're going to go for Mittag after our wonderful tier 4 patron, John Mittag. Thank you for all your insane support, John. Do appreciate it. You can have this town square named after your good self. For zonable assets in this district, I'm going to do European suburbia. And we'll have this running pretty much everywhere. Try not zoning too much in one go. Keeping off of the arterial road. I don't want to zone there. Could actually even go ahead and just reinforce that idea by making this non-zonable. Yeah, we'll get a few more grids back on the side of the road there. I can live with that. Not bothered about harsh terrain here, anything really gnarly that grows up. And we can hide with trees. I think I'm really keen to pay some special attention toward how this tram line cuts through a low density suburb as well. I think specifically with some fence lining. Something very discreet. Some farm I think will go quite nicely. Let's have this basically run the entire length I suppose. And I'll open up that whole outside for detailing up to the metro. Whilst continuing the fence line all the way through here. In this middle section, I think this will be perfect spot for a quintessential sort of rock garden space. Something quite tropical looking through here. Let's bring some vanilla colour through as well. We can just paint a little spot of personality into the city here. Some more exotic trees we don't usually see. Bit of palm in here as well. Sweet. Hello people. I'm surprised there's that many already. There's still not that much here. 95 in a week. Yeah, that's actually a lot of business I thought it would be already. Which is quite fun. I think I'm really keen to keep this residential kind of like really frontaged, I guess for lack of a better phrase. Against all this tram infrastructure here. We will have to make sure the nodes are at the same height here though for that close. Otherwise, we're just going to end up with really nasty terrain layers developing. And then I don't want to connect the two sides of the road here like this, I don't think, as if they were like that. We'll do that with pathways, and if you want to actually drive through, then you must take the tunnel. Otherwise, it kind of makes the tunnel a little redundant if I connect them like this. They probably will connect further down, but over this way, if you want to cross, you can use the tunnel, or you can walk via a pathway that we can really landscape, I think, into the road network, because we have the layers. I mentioned earlier detailing around, and the head of the tunnels will be quite interesting. So let's have a look at that concept. We can bring in, let's use some of the race day pathway. And I'll just have this sit, and I guess I might as well make this walkable up until there, and I'll probably take a section of that fence off. Yes, that side there is pretty perfect. And I'll bring that up. Now, that should make both sides walkable, I think. I'm actually not sure in that instance. I guess we'll see. It might need another node to pull it back. I'm not going to zone this side of the road. So all of this can certainly grow up. As we should be able to see that sprawl developing now. Yeah, right, that transition to medium density across the highway is very evident now, isn't it? And this visual will just continue as we get further and further away again. As the outer lying sprawl begins. One of my favourite projects, especially in cities like Palawan, Ilos, the outer lying suburban sprawl. Because I guess there's so much inspiration for it across the planet. It's one of the things I enjoy building the most, I think, for some reason. And then here, we'll definitely bring this down to the bottom layer too. Now we've got some really low roads here. That's fine. I'll just bring that metro up a little further. There's no major issue. I do want to move this metro pillar though, if I can just rotate that a little. So it's not in the way of the pathway. Yep, not too low there. And then that should be pretty wonderful, I think. I think I'll even go ahead and remove this fence here as well. And open up this entire area. Maybe I can finally use the paved. Or is it going to go over the tram line? It does, but I don't hate that. Maybe we can finally have a look at some paved designs here. Maybe these can just sit with the... I do like the fact the tram passes over the tile. Might be somewhat dangerous though. I think if we're going to do that, we should probably mark the tram line separately with intersection marking tool. But I'll try bringing something other than concrete here. But that's really tasty. Let's have a look at some of the stops on this 20-kilometer tram line now. I wonder if that's one of the longest tram lines I've ever built. I think it must be. I can't think of one that would be longer than that. Maybe some in Ilos stretching across the Margrid might be fairly massive. Well, that's quite a unique build, isn't it? Yeah, it's not mega busy. But there's so many things that run alongside this. The start of the line's definitely busy around the downtown areas. But yeah, maybe as we add more population onto the end of it, we don't get justification to run, especially if it's going to start being fed by the metro. But no, there's monorail, trains, there's so much that supports this tram line all the way back to its origin point over there. Wonderful. But other than that, I think we're at a good point for a detail in time-lapse now. I'm just going to carry on adding in more little embellishments here. We can see where our concrete wants to extend up to the pathway, doesn't it? And just blend this into a town centre full of parks, unique buildings in different variations. With everything off to the edge of this being our outer lying sprawl, so just our European suburbia. Continue to get this in across the hillsides. And then carry on paying lots of special attention up to where our networks kind of meet each other, and we can create some wonderful little suburban spaces here I feel today. Yeah, so very much start work on the town centre of Mittag in eastern Illium. Either way, grab yourself some snacks and we'll be right back with Illium detailing time-lapse. have a little detailing review over the new town of Mittag, shall we? Really love the hillside at play here. We can see all these little roofs and homes climbing up and over the hillside, and this will continue up here as the outer lying sprawl develops. We've actually run out of residential demand, so this grid will grow one day, basically just to consume the hillside, likely with a hilltop build available along this ridge, because the land is almost kind of imitating itself here. It's essentially just a smaller, more condensed version of the Central Park hill. And so we'll likely have something atop the hill here as the European suburbia wraps around the base of it over time. Once the city has the demand for residential, of course, we're kind of eating up all the residential demand today. So I think certainly farming next episode, given the fact we have no more need for houses. Either way, I love this. Really nice European sprawl, of course, coming off the highway exit. Some light IMT on the main junction just to stitch the bike lanes together. And then some guidance for the more awkward turning circles available from the junction. Down the main street, of course, we have the mall. We've also got post office, different plazas. Lots of functional pathway anchored into the park. As you can see, people walking up and around in many different directions from this central hub. And I like that this asset is here. It's almost like a little bit of old outer line gentrified industry from the main gentrified part. We can see over in the downtown here, of course, these big towers from that build quite a few episodes ago now. So always love the renewed history stuff. Really nice DLC. Turning out to be one of my favourites as we spend more time with it in the city. Both of the Brutalist fire and police stations are present in the town for obvious service needs. Over here. Really nice assets, these ones. A clinic with some ambulance detailing out the side of it. And an expanded service point that will basically service any pedestrianisation in this bit of the city over here. And then housing up here to the edge of the build. With expanded detailing and commercial all the way down the main street. With a really nice drive up into the Brutalist town centre we have a few episodes ago. And then of course into downtown. So I'm really happy with the sprawl. I think in any city build for me, kind of the grander scale crawl is always so important, if you like. And I'm really liking how Illium's is beginning to look here on that ascent into downtown. And that'll continue as we keep moving further and further and further away. To create this just dense cityfication of the map, I suppose. Such a satisfying process for me to watch unfold. Down here, some hedging and concrete to bring some purpose to the back of the commercial. You can imagine delivery vans pulling down here, etc. to drop off more crates or empty the bins or whatever. And then leaving a forest boundary for what will eventually be a gated community atop this hillside here. And down onto the waterfront will be a lot of repetitive Hearts of Korea housing, I think, is what I want to do with this area. Also preparing that entrance with palm-lined roads heading in there as well. But we'll probably break from this part of the map for a little bit, because we do need industry. Like I mentioned, farmland is now pretty imminent in Illium. Up this way, our clock sits with plazas, cafes with tables and umbrellas. Just general space to sit and enjoy the open town centre. With some light detailing, circular roadies, bush lining. Before this all ascends up the hill. All the way up here. Here we have lots of different commercial buildings. Mainly King Leno shopping malls in this instance. And then just use Move It to tie them all together on the edge so it makes this kind of big, cohesive, almost circular shop front as you ascend up to the metro station. We have a nice ring of commercial here if you like. This then arrives us at the metro station, which then takes us in, of course, to the other side, where we'll see fountains, benches, more cafe detailing, definitely the place you could grab perhaps an apricot croissant and a flat white before getting on your commute into the city, of course, with all that detailing present around here. Very nice, and people from this side of the street are using the pathway, as it turns out. Of course, I don't think there's going to be a case in point. Is that anyone? Yeah, here we go. These guys are going to cross over. They just came out of the house, actually. There you go. So they'll access it from both sides, which is good. They're actually using this node to connect there, and then that node to connect there. So it works for me. And then we'll get a sense of scurry as the metro arrives. And pretty much most of them choosing to converge onto the tram. Well, to be fair, there is still quite a few of them coming out here as well. But they are sinking into the earth slightly as they come out there. It's fine, we won't read too much into that. Here we go, we'll enjoy the stop of a tram while we're here. Wonderful. So satisfying that, isn't it? I love just, well, any public transit convergence is always good. But when it just works like that, it's really fun. This pathway comes round with lots of overgrowth detailing around the tunnel entrance and bringing people back down onto different layers if they want to make use of that. Before our residential demand ran out, of course, and this grid can't be filled just yet, but will be zoned in with European suburbia when the demand spikes up. There's not too many people using the tunnel, which is fine. I'm not massively bothered about this getting tons of use. Arguably I need to turn on some of the traffic lights down this road, but we will do some maintenance here. I need to slow pull these junctions, and then also decide what's going to lie over here as well, because we still have a major corner on the intersection to fill. We will also have a train line coming through as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'm thinking I might actually renovate this train line to become passenger. Actually removing this warehouse entirely, allowing the train to come through out the factory. And maybe bringing it through this suburb to have it also go to the international airport. I think it's a bit weird to bring it essentially this trajectory so it follows the metro. I feel like that would be a bit of a waste. So yeah, not sure what's going to happen with this section of map yet. Still things to be decided and planned in, I think. And then with our tramline passing through the European suburb again, all up this terrain. Isn't this such a wonderful bit of network design here? Really love the tram and the metro kind of forking off from one another. This is going to bring us up. Back onto the bridge, where the tram then continues onto its downtown loop. So once I've built this major space here, we'll definitely enjoy that tram first person tour from start to finish. And then there's just lots of really nice layers to enjoy around here, especially from the Hearts of Korea housing from the park we did a few episodes ago. Just all these layers coming up and over. We can see the metro crossing over this one now as well. Just an awful lot of fun to watch this suburb kind of live and breathe, if you like, as it really kind of flows over the hillside. And we'll continue to grow over time, of course, as residential demands in the city do spike up. And that build from last episode, of course, there's not too much to check out with this being basically just a death care build. But everyone's still happy from here. Loads of parked cars. And again, lots of ideas to be getting stuck in with over here. But it's almost so much fun, I think, bringing in the 25 tile spaces into the project. Especially so close to the edge of downtown here. I'm really starting to visualise that low density sprawl that will envelop this side of the map at least. Thank you so much for watching, indeed, if you have made it this far. Yet another overcharged egg town centre to enjoy. An enormous shout out to the YouTube members and patrons bankrolling these videos, with a real call to our golden egg patrons. Casino, Spartan Angel, Michael W, Wolfo, Ott, Phoenix MD, Jamin, Great C, Bryce Johnson, Sean, Trevor Larson, and John Mittag. Thank you so much indeed for all of your incredible support, guys. You're all clinically insane. If you want to get involved in that, links are down below to Patreon and Instant Gaming, should you wish to help support the videos we make here on YouTube. There's also links down below to TikTok and Instagram where you can find more Coco content, alongside the short form stuff we post here too. Either way, hang around for the cinematics and I'll shut up and leave it there. Thank you all again so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.